This is going to be the second part on fixing this skid steer. So on the last video, we came down to discovering that the number 1 and 4 piston, the number 4 cylinder is the companion to number 1. This one is all the way flush to the top. This one's a 1/4 inch low. So we know we have a bent rod. Hopefully we don't have a bent crank. So doing this while the machine was still running would have been ideal, but this works too. Got plenty of space underneath there now.
You're out.
That sure is a bent rod.
Oh man.
That's a little bit better anyways. I finally got all the parts in the mail. So here is the old bent connecting rod. Here's the new piston, here's the new connecting rod. So that's what it should look like. It takes a lot to bend a rod like that, so if you've never seen a bent connecting rod, now you have. The piston for the most part is fine. The rings are fine. The only part about the piston that worries me a little bit is that this area right here has a groove worn in it. So there's a little bit of material missing out of this. This is aluminum. So it's going to make this a little bit off balance because it's like, you know, a gram less or whatever. So that's why I decided to get a new piston, new rings for that cylinder, new connecting rod. I'm going to reuse the old bearings because there's almost no wear in these at all. There's a little bit, but it's not much. And the thing with the bearings is you can always replace those without having to pull the head again. All you have to do is pull the oil pan off and you can replace all the stuff on the bottom end. The reason that groove is in there is because there's a chunk of the block missing on the bottom of the cylinder wall. So let me show you what it looks like. You see right there, there's a chunk missing out of the bottom of the cylinder wall. See how right there there's that chunk missing, and then on the other side that's how it should look over here. So the nice thing about that is that when the piston is at the bottom dead center position, the bottom ring is still a good 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch away from. So I was really discouraged when I saw that because immediately I thought I need a new block. And for all intents and purposes, you really do need a new block when you see that. But I'm going to treat this like a YouTube experiment. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this new piston in with new rings, new connecting rod, new head gasket, and I'm going to send it. And we're going to see if this works. I'm pretty sure it will work, but I figure I don't have much to lose because if the block is trashed, then the block is already trashed. So the most I have to lose is really maybe like another connecting rod and a little bit of time, the head gasket. Other than that, if I was gonna replace the block, I can always do it if something fails from doing this. So I'm very curious myself to see if this is gonna work. So we're all gonna find out together whether it does or not. It's a lot of work to take this block out, to clean everything all up, to get a new block, which is like, you know, $3,000–4,000 and weeks away, and then you gotta reassemble everything. You gotta, you know, put the crank back in. Just a whole array of stuff that you have to do, which I don't mind doing if I really have to. But if I really don't have to, I would really love to not have to, because I'm building my house right now and I'm moving and I got a million other things going on. So if I can get by for at least a few years with the way that I'm doing it, then I'm going to be happy about it. I know there's going to be a lot of you that are going to say that this is a stupid idea and I should never do it unless I do it right. And I totally agree with you. But right now, I'm going to treat this as an experiment so we can all find out together. So that way I don't have to feel so bad if something goes wrong, because, you know, you pretty much expect something to go wrong, but I'm hoping for the best. I think the only problem that I might have is that the cylinder wall heats up a little bit more in that position. I don't see any other thing that could go wrong, because as long as the rings seal up, I don't see why it would be a problem. But we will find out soon. I'm gonna very lightly hone the cylinder, and really that's more or less for the carbon deposits on the top so that the piston doesn't have a hard time going in. And then we're just gonna send it. I'm not going to worry about taking the other pistons out and honing down the cylinders and putting new rings in. You know, ideally it would be great, but this machine has like 3,000 hours on it, so it shouldn't need all that stuff. So I wouldn't exactly follow my advice on a machine that you're doing, but in this case, I'm going to try this and we're going to see if it works. One thing that I did find out about this machine is that the injectors are not leaking. I had them tested, so that's definitely something we can cross off the list. A lot of you put in some comments saying that it could be from a leaking fuel injector and it was leaking into the cylinder and then it was hydrolocking. That wasn't the case. What I really think happened with this machine is that it got tipped over. There's a lot of wear and tear on the roof, and somebody actually tried to Bondo it. So I can only think of one way that a roof would be dented like that, and that's if it was on its back or on its side or something. I mean, yes, a tree could fall on it, but it doesn't look like that's what happened. It looked like rocks hit that thing. So I'm not too worried about this. I can fix this later, but it's just one of those things where I can hopefully put this story together. And I think this machine was flipped, and maybe they didn't flip it back in time and they let it sit for a day, and then the oil got into the cylinders. I don't know why it only got in the number 1 cylinder. Maybe it's just the position of the machine that allowed that to happen. I don't know, but I'm 90% sure that this machine was tipped, and that's why it hydrolocked. Quite a big chunk missing there. The crank seems fine. There's no wear on it. The bearings seem fine. There's no wear on them. I'm assuming these bearings are okay. Like I said, you don't even have to pull the head to do this. This is like to pull this oil pan and get underneath here and get to these bearings, that's like a half an hour worth of work. So if I need to redo them in the future, I can redo them in the future. I definitely did find some metal shavings in the oil pan. I don't think it did too much damage, so we're going to clean all that out, flush the oil out a couple times, and then we should be all right. All right, so the bottom ring is right about there right now, so we want to leave that, and that's ready for installation now. There you go. There you go. All right, send it down slow.
Am I tapping?
You should be able to just push it. Just push slowly.
Come on, baby. More?
Yep.
Doesn't want to go more.
All right, you can, no, wait, okay. All right, a little bit more. All right, keep going. A little bit more. All right, now you can tap on it. Okay.
Good?
Yep. These connecting rod bolts you got to put in wet. They got to be 40 to 43 pounds. Want to get them both snug, and then just maybe go like 20 pounds on the first pass. Go back, do a little bit more, and then we'll get our 40. I chose 41.5 pounds. Oh, let's do another round here. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's it. So now let's rotate the engine a couple times, make sure nothing binds up, everything looks good. Oh, it's gonna get close.
Almost there. Ow, ow, ow.
That's what we want to see right there. I thought I might need you to. Alright. Let's rotate her again. Up here. This thing don't want to stay. Okay.
Okay. I got a land on it. I think that's good.
Yep.
Too late for that.
I did the first sequence in that pattern at 40 pounds, and then I did it again at 80 pounds. So it's all torqued down, and now we can start attaching everything else to it. This is the exhaust manifold, and the studs are all seized in there. I had to cut them off. The muffler flange mounts to this, and there wasn't much clearance, so I couldn't do a lot with it the way it was, so I just had to cut them. I'm just going to take a nut, weld it to the end. This one actually already kind of threads onto it, even though it's metric and this is American. It's just enough to get it started, and then you just weld it on there, and then you can turn it off. It's very similar to how I did this one right here. This stuff is good up to 1800 degrees. So this exhaust should never see that kind of temperature, or I would have some melted pistons. It's the copper one. Well, I was just torquing down these fuel injector retaining bolts and they said 29 foot-pounds. So I'm cranking it away to 29 foot-pounds and the thing breaks off flush. I don't know if you can really see it, but it's right there. So I took the fuel injector out, took this valve bridge out, took this rocker, flipped it over. Hopefully I can use one of these screw extractors and get that out. Look at that. I got it. That is so beautiful.
away and stuff. Gonna get you an 8 minute.
Just leave it open for now. Clear prop. Clear prop.
Clear prop.
Gauge in here, so I don't know.
That'll be one thing you have to add.
Time will tell if that cylinder will hold up, but let's go try this thing out. I gotta baby it though, because with new rings in it, it's really got to break in a little bit, so I'm not gonna go over half throttle. It only smokes when you turn it up a little bit, but I just started it, so it's probably still burning off stuff that was in there. I don't smell any unburnt fuel at all though. It sounds good. It doesn't shake like it did before. You can tell it's much more balanced now. That last cylinder is finally firing. It sounds really good.
probably the unburnt stuff in that cylinder. But go grab a scoop. Grapple bucket. Oh, wow.
Pat's gonna give it a try out. You don't need that. You don't need that. now I've been running it for a while, I can rev it up and it doesn't even smoke. That is nice. I've been running this machine for about an hour now. I'm about a little over halfway throttle, and I can't even get it to smoke anymore. I actually got it to bog down so hard that it stalled, and it still didn't smoke. So I think it's fair to say that this machine is working good. It's fixed. I still have a lot more things to work on. These bosses right here need some slack taken out of them. I think I can get like a bushing made up for it. There's the two lights that are blinking in here. That's not really affecting anything right now, but I want to check into that. I got the rear glass with it. I just need to put that in. I could probably do something with the roof. That'd be a good idea. It definitely needs a whole paint job. This is all bent up. The owner actually ended up giving me back $1,000 after he heard what I was going through, so that's good. I probably have about $1,000 in the parts just to do this. Parts and fluids and just, you know, all the stuff that goes with it. And then obviously that doesn't include my time, but it wasn't that bad to do the job. I love the controls on this machine. They're really nice and precise, and they're sensitive. I really like it. It's very minimal movement for a lot of action. Coming from the foot pedals, this is like night and day difference. This is like a Cadillac. So the Gehl CTL60 is the same as the TL130, and it's also the same as a Mustang. I don't know the model name, but there's like 3 different machines that are all the same thing. I did end up getting that adapter to put in the fuel injection port to be able to test for compression, but we don't even need to worry about that. I also got this to drain the oil out. This is kind of a special thing that you need to drain. This is a Takeuchi part, but it's the same thing for this motor. This allows you to drain the oil without using a screwdriver. And I also did get some new instruments here, which they're not like the best brands, but they're not the worst either. This is a pretty good caliper right here. I also got a bore gauge too to check for the bore. I actually have another project where we're going to use all this stuff, so I figured I'd order it now, and I was going to use it on this skid steer, but I figured I wanted to kind of do an experiment and have like a bush fix, you know, like a field fix. And I want to see how long it holds up, and if it doesn't hold up, I guess I'll have to take it all apart and do it right. But I wanted to see if this would work. I always kind of wanted to know if it would work or not. That's why I was asking you guys in the last video, because I know what I need to do to make it right, and that's to take the block out, check the crank, or get a new crank. That's the right way to do it. But we're going with the free fix, or close to free fix, and you know, we'll do it as an experiment. So that's kind of where I was going with this project. I don't do this type of work for customers, so I got a new lift pump too, so I'm going to put that in pretty soon here. I got all genuine parts. This is all the parts that you would get like from the factory, so I didn't like buy anything aftermarket or anything like that. When I first started thinking about tearing apart this motor, it was a very daunting task because it looks like you can't get to anything. But once you start taking things off, like the exhaust, that opens up a whole bunch of room. The radiator, then you can get to the whole back of the motor. You lift the cab, and then you can get to the whole front of the motor. And you just do those few things, and you know, maybe like an hour worth of time, you got like access to anything you need in there. It was a little bit of a struggle because everything was coated in mud and all kinds of grease and stuff. But once I clean things out, it's actually not too bad to work in here. I have a whole bunch of projects coming up for this. That's kind of why I bought it. Most of the projects are around here. This right here is an area that I'm taking this fill away and using it for around my house. And I'm also getting this area prepared for a big garage I'm going to put here. I think it's going to be like 40 by 60. So I'm kind of doing two things here at once, but I'm not really getting serious into it. I'm just messing around with the machine right now. So we'll call this fixed for now, and time will tell whether it'll hold up. You guys will see it on plenty of videos, so if you see it in the videos, then it's doing fine. And I'll do those other minor things to it coming up soon and do a whole bunch of projects with it. So I'll see you guys on those videos.